Hello and welcome. And in this video, I'm talking about why sales calls don't work for coaches and consultants. Now, this week, if you haven't seen already across my social media profiles, we've been talking about sales and how to qualify more perfect fit clients by running sales calls. Now, I wanted to touch on the subject of why sales calls don't work because I see a lot of coaches and consultants where some people use sales calls, some people have sales scripts, and other people they just do it ad hoc. They kind of wing it, right? But ultimately, what I want to talk about is how sales calls can work and why they don't work. Now, this isn't something that I just magically thought about. There's so many different references to running successful sales calls and having sales scripts. Now, I guess in the marketing and consulting world, the problem that we're faced with is we've over the years, I'd say probably the past 4 or 5 years, we've had an influx of high ticket closers, people who just want to sell in a sleazy and spammy way. And unfortunately, in every industry, it's the same. These things happen and they have a negative impact on the industry. And I guess in the coaching world, we're no different, right? Like these things have happened, and we're also dubious about selling. And when sales happens, and we hear of all these bad experiences, we want to stay away from sales as much as possible. But look, we're all in business, so we've got to sell, right? So let's just kind of throw that one out the way for the moment. But where am I going with this? Well, let's just have a look at a couple of books that I have next to me. So we've got Advanced Selling Strategies, Brian Tracy, The Proven System of Sales Ideas, Methods, and Techniques Used by Top Salespeople Everywhere, right? So there's one book. Very popular book. Here's another one. The Ultimate Sales Machine, right? Chet Holmes, classic, absolute classic around sales and marketing and what you've got to do. Now let's go back to The Godfather. Let's go old school on this one. Zig Ziglar, Secrets of Closing the Sale. Like in this book, this is a closing Bible. This book is one of the original books that I got. I remember I got recommended it by one of my first business coaches. And there's so many different types of closing, right? And if you're familiar with the term, closing simply means to get a prospect to actually buy from you and become a client. Some people don't like the term closing. I love it, right? Because you close the sales process and you transfer them to becoming a client. And then more recently, you've got books like this, Dot-Com Secrets, where Russell Brunson is talking about sales using the two-step method and so on and so forth. But just kind of taking all of these books into consideration that we have here, right? And I even wrote about it myself, in my own book, More Leads, More Clients. There's actually sales scripts that I put into my own book as well about closing, right? But where am I going with this? When the sales calls not work for you, they don't work when you don't have a clear process, when you don't have a powerful script, right? And I hear a lot of people all the time. I'm probably exaggerating. I hear it regularly, not all the time, but regularly. People saying you don't need to use salesy sales scripts, and you don't want to come across sleazy and all this other kind of stuff. But here's how I look at just business in general. If you're genuine, you're authentic, and you've got something to sell, and the product or service that you offer as a coach or consultant can transform lives, can get people the outcomes that they're looking for, can get them the results that they're looking for. And you can put your money where your mouth is if you have a guarantee or you don't have a guarantee or whatever the thing is, right? You put your reputation on the line. Then it's your duty to sell the thing to the person, because what you're selling is a solution to a problem. Now, where I think people get it twisted is they look at having a sales script as you just trying to close everybody. But a powerful sales script is not there just for you to close everybody. A powerful sales script is to give you the structure, to give you the framework to understand how to qualify the right people, and for the right people that are a fit, to actually help them to walk a path of mutual agreement so that they can then make their decision on their own, a well-informed decision to then buy from you, right? And that's how I look at sales. And as I said, we've been speaking about this, and we will be talking more about this throughout the week. I actually do have a sales script that I can give you guys for free as well. If you want to qualify more perfect fit prospects and you want to, turn those people into becoming clients, just comment below this video with the letters SQS, Sierra, Quebec, Sierra. So SQS, it stands for Super Qualifier Script. It's a script that I give to my clients, and I'm happy to give you guys a PDF copy with a walkthrough video on how you can use that to close more sales. But let me get back to sales scripts and processes. Now, as I mentioned, there's almost limitless resources on sales scripts. I'm a big advocate for sales scripts. Use them. Sales scripts work, but there's some rules, and I'm going to show you the rules now, right? There's a reason all these books have scripts. When you're getting into sales and as you want to get better, either you personally or you want to train your team up, you've got to have a process, right? A business that's doing more than, like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 a month eventually has to have good systems. If you've ever come across the book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber, he talks about it, right? Systems. You've got the entrepreneur, the owner, the visionary, you've got the manager, and you've got the technician. But in order to get to the point where you can have managers, you've got to have systems. And one of those systems is sales. And within sales, you've got to have sales scripts. And those scripts are what will allow you to produce consistent, predictable results. And you'll be able to then understand what your KPIs are so that you can evolve your systems to get better. And so for me, sales scripts, the only reason why people don't have sales scripts or sales calls that don't work is because they don't actually have a good process. It's that simple. If you decide to create a system in your business and the system is weak to begin with, what are the results going to be like? Weak, right? So the problem is not that sales calls don't work. The problem is that most people who do sales calls don't work them in the right way. And I just want to throw a spanner in the works as well, just to be a little bit controversial. There is a way to actually sell people without doing sales calls as well, guys. So if you are one of those people who do sales calls in your business, I want to share with you some insights. If you're one of the, the marketers, business owners right now, where you don't actually do sales calls and you push people through your marketing message, you get them to your offer page, they pay, you get onboarded, and then eventually you connect with them, but you don't actually have to do a sales call. You don't have a sales team to do that. That's cool. I've been able to do that myself as well, and I get it. And it's real powerful, right? If you actually understand how to market in the right way and you have the system to lead people to actually buy by creating an irresistible offer that's truly irresistible. But anyway, there's different ways to get around sales calls. But I want to speak specifically to the people who are doing sales calls. And why do I recommend them before I go any further? They're the fastest way to go from somebody who's interested to the point where you qualify and you get them onboarded. For the person who wants to, for instance, run a webinar, run a VSL, or run some kind of marketing message, whether it's text-based, video-based, and push people through some type of funnel to get them to come out the other side to actually become a client, takes a bit more sophistication, takes a bit more skills, a bit more training. And so one of the fast ways to get over that, and what I've found personally over the years, both myself and with the clients that I've worked with, is to do sales calls. So let's have a look at an example sales call script that I use for my clients. Let me just zoom in a little bit more here. So I want to talk about some of the obvious questions, and this is what I usually experience, even with like really established coaches. I've dealt with coaches who've been running like 5 years, reviewed their sales calls. Like I've literally reviewed hundreds of sales calls over the years, giving my coaching clients and consultants feedback. I remember one recent client, Alston, we were looking at the way that he sold, and at the time, I think he was selling some consulting services for between like 20 to 40,000 pounds or something. And what we found actually is that he was underselling because one, he didn't understand his own price for his offer, which is a totally different topic. But number two, when it came to selling, he almost felt annoyed when people didn't buy. And what we had to do is do the reframe. And again, this is part of your sales script process. It's understanding, how do you need to frame yourself before you do the sales call? Like, are you head up full of tension and like, oh, or you're just kind of like, I want people to buy, and you focus on the sell, rather than let me see if we're actually a good fit for one another. And it's a different frame. And the reason why it's a different frame is because you're not putting tension into the fact that you want that person to become a client. You're actually saying, hold on, I want to see if we're actually a fit for one another before I even decide to give you the opportunity to buy from me. And when you kind of frame things that way when it comes to selling, it changes it, because you're moving from tension to get the sale to let's just see if we're actually a good fit, which is a totally different feeling. It's a totally different vibration to the way that you sell, you show up. And also it will have an impact on you being more confident, because you're not there being tense, being focused on, either lack, scarcity, which actually happens when you do sales calls, and you focus more on, let's make sure we're a fit. And if we're a fit, then I can present to you the solution for the problem that you have. So here's the obvious questions that I've got on screen for you that I want to take you through and just kind of share. How do you come across genuine if you're using a script? Very simple. The more you do it, the better you get, right? Imagine a Hollywood actor or actress when they get a script. It's not like they just drop it into character. They learn it, they embody the character, and you've got, character method actors, and you've got different techniques to own the script, right? To make it seem authentic and natural. And eventually it just becomes authentic and natural because you own it, right? So the next one is, how do you qualify prospects without sounding like you're asking too many questions? Again, usually this is because you're fearful of asking the questions because you want the sale rather than ask the questions to make sure you're a fit before you even get into the sale. How do you get people to answer more difficult questions like their income or revenue, or even more personal questions? If you're like a life coach, you need to dig into their life a bit more. Even a business coach, you need to dig into their life a bit more. Again, if you're not like putting attention in because you want that person to become a client, you start to understand that you're just having a conversation, right? And that's all it is. It's a conversation. There's no tension in a conversation. It's just speaking to another human being, right? How do I create real urgency and desire in my conversation so that I'm seen as the only solution to my prospect's problem? Again, if you stop like chasing people and putting the tension into it, the desire will come because the person will feel like, wow, like this person's so calm, confident. You put the other person at ease, and you come across as like a real authority and somebody that, look, I don't even need your money, right? I'm here just to figure out whether or not I like you and you like me. Again, it's reframing the way that you go into sales. And finally, obvious questions you're probably asking yourself: how do I turn prospects into clients from my sales calls? So let me just finish on rules, and then I'm going to dig into some things that you can use to structure your sales calls to start qualifying the right people. You will not sell to everybody. And I think this is a big one. Don't jump onto sales calls and think that for everybody that turns up for the sales call, they're going to buy. This is not Wolf of Wall Street. This is not all of the films that you can think of. And I actually got a list of films here. Boiler Room, Jerry Maguire, The Founder, Moneyball, Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith, just like banging out those calls, Wall Street. All of these films can kind of give the indication as to why some people fall out of love with selling, right? And what I find is selling is a confidence game, but it's confident in being able to have a conversation, because when there's too much tension, you get clouded and you forget that you're having a conversation, that the other person is a real human being. And actually you're there to make sure that the conversation flows rather than feel tense and like you're asking them for a sale, or you're asking them, do you want to buy, or just questions where it's a yes or no, rather than let me ask you some questions so I can determine whether or not we're a fit. And also in the structure of the way that you ask questions, you'll find out whether or not the person is a fit, because will they have the patience to answer your questions? Do they share the same type of values, the same type of culture as well? And all of these are factors when you're onboarding people for coaching and consulting. When it comes to like kind of product base or things where it's not necessarily important for you to have like a deeper relationship, right? It's definitely important when you're doing coaching that you want to qualify the right people. So those are some of the rules. Never push without integrity or act sleazy. That just goes against integrity as far as I'm concerned. If you're turning up to sales calls and you don't have integrity of what you're going to deliver, how you're going to be, and whether you're being genuine, like just stop selling the thing that you're selling and get some sales training. Don't put your competitors down in order to get prospects on your side. It never works. Even if a prospect comes on the call, tells you about somebody else where they had a terrible experience, don't bash the other person, because you don't know the other side of the story, right? And it's not a cool way to bring somebody on board. And actually, you might be bringing a self-saboteur into your business by bringing that client on. So again, qualifying and just having conversations and getting answers from people is so important. Never criticize your prospect. So for instance, if you're speaking to a coach, a coaching client, a coaching prospect, even before they're a client, never criticize what steps they've taken before. Just how I understand, I can see that you've really tried, or you did your best with what you could do of the situation. Never criticize them saying, oh, you waited too long, why didn't you get a coach, when did you come to me 2 years ago? Never ever criticize. You can be honest and open, but you never have to criticize, right? And I've had many honest and open conversations, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been me. I've had a conversation, and I'm able to dig deeper, because when a person joins you on a sales call, they're not there for like a jolly. They're there because they have a problem and they want to know whether or not you actually have a solution. And not only that, they're also reading you. You think you're reading them. They're also reading you, whether they like you, confidence and certainty they have with what you're saying. And all of these are important because you can even be given a script, but if you turn up with a script and you're on the call and you feel tense and you don't really have this fluidity of just let me just have a conversation rather than try and get the sale and be okay with just following the process, like you start to sabotage your own scripts, right? And so for me, sales is about becoming confident, but within your own skin. It's not confident like, can I ask for the sale? It's just like, can I just have the conversation? Because by the time you qualify the right person, you're going to find, I would say at least 50% of the time, the person's ready to buy. Like they're going to ask about what it is that you have for those people that qualify. And the other people, you're simply going to ask because they're probably not sure on how the process works. And so you're going to simply say, so does that sound like the kind of thing that's going to get you the outcomes that you're looking for? Right. And there's so many different ways you can give them, alternate close. And if we go back to this book that I mentioned here, so much research you can do in different types of closing. But anyway, let me get into the script that you can use and we'll get through this real quick, guys. So assumptions. I'm going to assume you already have clients, you're an experienced cultural consultant, and this selling isn't the first time you've done this stuff, right? You may use a two-step appointment setter process, meaning you might have a VA or a salesperson who sets the appointment for you. Maybe they jump on a call to qualify and do the qualifying for you. In that case, they can use this script as well, especially if they're not doing it that well for you. You generally go straight to the sale. If you're doing that right now and you get a person on board and you're just going straight to the offer and you're pushing people to buy, this is the thing that you want to avoid. I'm going to show you how to fix that. So I use something that I give my clients called the Super Qualifier script. And I'm going to give you the script. If you want a copy of the script, remember, just comment below this video with the letters SQS, which stands for Super Qualifier script. If you do that, me or one of my team will reach out to you and we'll send you the PDF link as well as a walkthrough video for free. You can get it. And you're probably wondering, why do I do it for free? Some of you will want to take that script and implement yourself. The other people, the really smart people, will want to get that script, have a look, and then think, I'd like to get Leon's opinion and advice on the way that I sell. And you might want my support and help, right? So that's why I give so many resources away for free. And it's that simple. Some of you will want to take that stuff, go implement it. Others, you'll want to speak more to me about getting help and actually improving your conversion rate. And I've done this countless times where the nuance in having your sales calls reviewed, your sales scripts reviewed, is that when you're in the frame, you don't see the picture. So you need somebody who can look at what you're doing more objectively and point out the unconscious things that you're doing to make sure that you're closing more effortlessly and with ease, right? So the SQS Super Qualifier script, there's 3 steps to it if you want to qualify more people. And remember, if you want a copy of the script, just comment below this video, SQS. The first thing is connect. Second thing is qualify, and the third step is confirm. And each step has a number of steps in each one. And I'll say this again, which I've already mentioned for those of you who've just joined me. Having a script is really about you owning the script. Imagine yourself Hollywood actor, actress, right? Who's playing a part really well to the point where there is no distinction that you're an actor or actress anymore. It's yours, like you've owned it, right? Think of some of the most famous movies and actors. And you can think of a film that you place them in, like Denzel Washington, right? Training Day, Denzel Washington, Malcolm X. And there's going to be countless other people. You can think of I'll think of Marvel movies that I watch with my son. You've got Robert Downey Jr., the epitome of superhero, right? Iron Man. So when you kind of claim the script, you'll just embody it as you. And that's what you want. You want people just to feel like, wow, it was a great experience just being, onboarded in the way that you did it. I felt the confidence and ease, and that's what you want people to experience. So how do we do this? So let's get into step 1, connect. So in order to connect, there's some preparation, guys. Remember, you can read this through when you get a free copy of this PDF. So to connect is very simple. You're going to mention, hi, name. I've got you booked in for a call right now. And it's literally just a welcome. There's going to be a bit of small talk, but you're going to tell them, hey, my job today is da-da-da-da-da. And the small talk part is really just going to be you feeling confident about saying, how are you doing? How's your week been so far? How was your weekend? You don't want to elaborate into any more than that, and control the narrative, control the conversation. And by sharing with them, I've got you booked in today, and my job is really simple, is that you're going to set what's going to happen, right? You're going to set the agenda. And that's all it is. And then you're going to say to them, why now? Before we get started, why are you choosing to act now? You want to understand, is now important? You're then going to move on to, at that point, why me? And I've seen so many people who avoid this and never ask this question. If they're speaking to you, you want to know why they're speaking to you, right? What you don't want are window shoppers. You want people who are keen and interested in what you can do for them. Not, I'm just checking around for prices and funnel hacking you and blah, blah, blah. So you want to ask, why me? Why do you think I can help? And this is a really cool question, because now they have to think about why they're actually speaking to you, and they're going to sell themselves to you, right? Or sell you to themselves even. Step 2 is qualify. So the qualifier is very simple. You got to think about, what questions do you need to know in order to feel that this person is a perfect fit prospect for you and is worthy to see your offers, or is worthy to be sold your offer, right? So first step is current situation. So tell me about your life, your business. So depending on what service you offer people, you're going to ask about their business or ask them about their life. So who, what, and how. You're going to just dig in. You're going to ask as many relevant questions depending on how long you're going to do your sales qualifying calls for. My sales calls for qualifying only usually last around about 20 minutes. Can be 30 minutes depending on if the person is super chatty and I have to kind of like keep pulling them back in, but that's okay. I allow for that. The next part is the gap. You need to understand where they are and where do they want to be. What that gives you is current situation and goals. So if you want to ask where they want to be, you might say, where do you want to be in the next 6 months, the next 12 months, the next 3 months, in relation to what you are probably going to sell them as a course. Maybe you've got a 2-month, 3 months, 6 months, 12-month course. So you want to ask where they are, where they want to be in relation to how long you believe they'd be able to get the result that they're looking for with the kind of service or program that you're going to sell them, right? Then you're going to move to the need, and need is all about their problems. If you look at your current problems in your business, or if you look at your current problems in your life right now, what do you think is missing or broken? So you're going to dive into really getting them to focus on what they want fixing. This is important because you need to understand the problems, or what they see as problems. Does that align to what it is that you can offer them, right? It's that simple. So you're just going in, making sure it makes sense for them. And this is what is helping you to qualify them into whether or not they're a fit. So the second part of qualify is action. So you just want to find out, is this later or a sooner thing for you? Yeah. Is this a later or a sooner thing for you? You want to know, are they buying now or they're buying in 6 months? Are they buying now or they're buying next month, right? And it's good because you'll know the likelihood of them committing, right? Check in. So let me check I've got this right. So you're going to revert back to all the things that you've been taking notes of as you've been listening, as you've been asking questions, right? And the check-in is important. So it gets them to know that you've been paying attention, and that's key in sales, right? People don't want to just buy coaching or consulting and just think the person never really paid attention to my needs. If that happens, just put it like this: you're not going to get the sale, right? Because people want to be heard 100%. And when it comes to selling, if they feel like you haven't been listening, you haven't paid attention to the nuance of what they've been saying, there's a big chance you're not going to get the sale. And that's another reason why you shouldn't put tension into getting the sale, right? Because you're going to mess up, guys. Like I said, I've coached coaches who've done 15, 20, 25K months, right? And you'd think they're on their way. They're on the way to doing like £250,000. And then some months they drop down a bit. And they're still having prospect calls, but they're not actually qualifying and selling. And the reason being, they miss things. And so even when you're experienced, you've got to make sure that you're picking up on the unconscious stuff, the subconscious stuff that you're not seeing. And that can never usually happen on your own unless you're reviewing your stuff and you're like, that's what's going on. And from what I've seen and the coaches I've spoken to over the past 7 years, I've never come across, I'd have to say 99.9% of the time, they're not reviewing their own sales calls. So it's best to get somebody external, like a coach or mentor, somebody like me, to actually review that stuff for you and pick up on the things that are going to increase your conversions, are going to make such a big difference to you getting 10, 20, 30, 50, 100K a month, just because you fine-tuned your skills. So check in, you're going to ask them about their problems. And then the final piece of qualify is qualified. I said at the start of my job, and you're simply going to say to them whether or not you think they're a fit, right? It's that simple. And this is a polite way for a person to understand whether or not they fit. Now, I just want to add a bit of a frame to this because I think this is important. When you say to the person whether or not they're a fit, it also adds this kind of like need and desire to actually want to be a fit, right? And it's cool because it puts you in a position where you're not chasing. and it puts you as the person selling in a position where the person feels like they're pursuing you because they really want it. They want to be a fit. They don't want to not be a fit, right? Most people don't. Most people want to fit in, and especially when they're on a call to get the solution with what they have a problem with. So I'm sharing this part with you because I think it's really important for you to take on board. Now, once you've gone through that, the final stage is convert, right? And convert, very simple. And remember, you can get all this PDF. There is a walkthrough video with this. You're going to tell them about the next step, whether you're going to present on that call or you're going to book in a second call, like a 2-step. And then, depending on what you do, you're going to present your offer. And presenting your offer, if you're doing it on the call, depending on how you do it, if you do a 1-step call or a 2-step call, you can present there and then. If you've allowed that time ahead of the call, saying, we're going to do a 30-minute call and they're okay for time, or you've asked them if they've got another 10-15 minutes or whatever to see the presentation or see the offer. I advise most coaches to do a 2-step call so that you have time for the person to see the offer, make sure that they're a fit, and then you get them booked in within the next 24, 48 hours if you can. Sometimes it's a bit longer, but if you can get the majority of people booked in the next 24, 48 hours, what you're going to see is a more likelihood of that person becoming a client, especially if they're a fit, right? Because that's what you want. And then finally, you're going to close. And the close is, can you see that working for you and helping you to solve your biggest problem? So at that point, you're going to simply say to them, you're going to ask them a question that's going to get them to make a commitment. Yes. Now, when you use all of this, and I'm going to come back to what I was talking about at the beginning, the whole point of this super qualified script, I'll leave it on this mindset. So what we got in the background, we're using this so that we're not putting tension into our sales process, right? What we're doing is having conversations. And these books that I mentioned to you earlier, Zig Ziglar, Secrets of Closing the Sale, Advanced Selling Systems, Brian Tracy, all of these books, Ultimate Sales Machine, Chet Holmes, and some guy called Leon Street, More Leads, More Clients, right? So the point I'm getting to, sales calls don't work when you don't have a script or a structure, right? It's okay if you don't have an exact script, but you have a structure where you always go through specific things that you're talking about. You don't necessarily have to say it in the same way. People get scared of being robotic and sounding like I'm reading from a script, right? And most people don't, because what they understand is that you adjust the script to use your language, your pacing, your tone, the way that you speak, your words, right? And that's what turns it from being more of like a logical robotic thing to being just the way that you deliver that particular part of your business, selling. And I think that's the key that you got to pay attention to. And if you are in a situation where you're not converting as well as you could be, perhaps you're getting the leads, but you're just not converting those sales calls into clients in the number or at the percentage of conversion rate that you want, that's your cue to review what you're doing when it comes to selling, right? And there may be an added thing that you need to look at, which is perhaps your offer. But I can tell you most of the times, if a person wants to speak to you about what it is that you do, they're usually into whatever it is that you're offering. But it may come down to your ability to get people over the finish line to buy from you, and especially when they're a fit. I don't condone you selling to people who aren't a fit, and I don't condone selling to people you haven't qualified. And I'll tell you why. They become the biggest pain in the ass C and D clients, not your A's and B's. They become the kind of clients who they want to get a refund from you, right? They'll hit you up with a credit card refund, just like out of the blue. They'll say how great things are with you and then go and badmouth you behind your back, right? And that's why it's so important to make sure that you get perfect fit alignment when you qualify, right? Values, culture, making sure you pick up on the things that they're saying and that it does fit with the service. So you've got a good problem to solution match with what it is that you're offering. And if you bring that together over time, it isn't you put it in place and you get it right straight away. This is you put it in place and you evolve. Like in the past, I hired a sales coach where I paid like £24,000 for a year to be coached by specifically sales coach on sales, right? And I've hired other countless other coaches who've also given me tips and guidance and mentorship in different areas. But I'm sharing this part with you because if you're serious about growing your coaching business as an established coach or consultant, you can get results. I've got clients who've done 7 figures. I've got clients who've adjusted, the way that they sell, and it's just transformed. And I mentioned earlier about one of my clients, Alston. Once we adjusted the way that he sold and his offer, within 3 months, he'd done £250,000 in sales when he was averaging before that around about 40 to 60,000, right? and it can dramatically shift the results of what you're doing in your business, especially if you're already generating leads, whether it's organic or paid. It really doesn't matter. But if you go down this call route, this is definitely the way for you. If you want the script, guys, remember, please comment SQS and I'll send you a free PDF copy of the script. You can take a look. And if you want more support and help guidance, then, you know, I'm your guy. On that note, guys, just one more thing I want to mention. On the 7th of December, I'm running my annual strategy and planning workshop. If you want to find out more about that and plan your 2024 with the right plan, the right strategy, ready to just unleash your business and go to that next level, just comment below this video with the word workshop and we'll reach out to you and send you details about the planning workshop. It is a paid ticket event and we do have a limit of 20 people for that event. For those of you on YouTube, I just want to say, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell for future and upcoming videos. For the rest of you, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up or a like and a comment just to add your insights and take on what I've shared. Is this something that will work for you? Is Leon full of shit, or did you get some value out of this video? Let me know. Take care. Bye-bye.